The richest man I ever met drove a 12-year-old Toyota with a cracked bumper. I found that out by accident. I was at a dinner, and someone mentioned, almost as a joke, that the quiet guy in the faded polo shirt was worth over $40 million. I remember laughing, not because it was funny, because it broke something in my head. Everything I thought I knew about what wealth looks like was wrong. And once you see that crack, you can't unsee it. Here's the question that's going to sit with you for the next few minutes. Why do the people who look the richest usually have the least? And why do the people who look the poorest usually have the most? There's a mechanism behind this. It's not luck. It's not some secret tax loophole. It's a behavior, a quiet, almost invisible discipline. And once I explain it to you, you'll start noticing it everywhere. In your neighbor, in your cousin, maybe even in yourself on the wrong side of it. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why looking poor, on purpose, strategically, intelligently, might be the single most underrated wealth-building tool that nobody teaches you. Not in school, not from your parents, not from social media, which actively punishes you for it. Stick with me because reason number 7 is the one that changed how I see every rich person I've ever met, and I promise you won't expect it. Let's start with the trap, the one almost everyone falls into before they even realize they're in it. There's a term researchers use, lifestyle inflation. It sounds clinical, but it's brutally simple. Every time your income goes up, your spending quietly creeps up to match it. You get a raise and suddenly you deserve a nicer car. You get a bonus and suddenly last year's phone feels embarrassing. Thomas Stanley spent decades studying this exact pattern for his research that became the Millionaire Next Door. And what he found broke the myth of the rich completely. The actual millionaires in his study weren't wearing Rolexes. They were buying used cars, living in the same modest house for 20 years, looking frankly poor. Meanwhile, the people leasing the luxury sedans and wearing the flashy watches, many of them were one missed paycheck from a disaster. They looked rich. They weren't. That's the first reward I want to give you, because it's the foundation for everything else. Looking wealthy and being wealthy are almost always inversely related. The visible spending is usually the tell. It's the receipt for money that already left the building. Now here's where it gets personal. Because I want you to picture someone, not a celebrity, a 28-year-old software engineer, let's call him Ryan, making a solid $95,000 a year in a mid-sized city. Ryan drives a 10-year-old Honda Civic with a check engine light he's been ignoring for 8 months. His coworkers assume he's still paying off student loans. His friends low-key pity him at dinner when he orders the cheapest thing on the menu. What none of them know is that Ryan maxes out his retirement accounts, has $40,000 in index funds, and hasn't touched a credit card balance in 3 years. He looks broke. He is quietly building the exact financial cushion that half the people judging him will never have. And this is where the psychology gets interesting, because looking poor isn't just about saving money. It changes how the world treats you, and that's reason 2, and it's a big one. When you look wealthy, you become a target. Not always for crime, though that happens more than people admit, but for something more subtle and more expensive. Obligation. Family members ask you for loans they never intend to repay. Friends assume you'll cover the group dinner. Salespeople smell opportunity the second you walk into a dealership in nice clothes. There's a reason car salesmen are trained to watch what you're wearing and what you're driving in. Look successful, and the price you're quoted quietly goes up. Look modest, and people underestimate you. And underestimation, in almost every negotiation in life, is a superpower. I want you to sit with that for a second because it's uncomfortable. We're taught that looking successful opens doors. Sometimes it does. But it also opens your wallet to everyone standing near that door. Here's the third piece, and it's the one most people never connect to money at all. It's about attention. Every dollar you spend signaling status is a dollar, not compounding. That's not a metaphor, that's arithmetic. If Ryan had leased a $600 a month luxury car instead of driving his beat-up Civic, and invested that $600 a month instead, Over 30 years at a modest historical market return, he'd be looking at close to $700,000 extra by retirement. Same guy, same income. The only difference is what he let people see. That gap between what you spend to appear rich and what you could have grown by not caring how you appear is where almost all self-made wealth actually comes from. It's not a secret income stream. It's the absence of a leak. Now, stay with me because I promised you a turn, and here it is. I'm not telling you to be cheap. I'm not telling you to live like a monk and never enjoy your money. That's not the reframe. The reframe is this. The people who build real wealth aren't hiding poverty. They're hiding wealth. There's a difference, and it changes everything. They're not broke pretending to look fine. They're rich, choosing not to advertise it. That choice is strategic, not shameful. It's armor, not embarrassment. Once you see it that way, looking poor stops feeling like a sacrifice and starts feeling like a power move, because it is one. Think about it from the other direction. Nobody envies the quiet guy in the Toyota. Nobody gossips about him. Nobody tries to borrow from him. Nobody negotiates harder against him assuming he's got deep pockets. He moves through the world frictionless. Meanwhile, the guy in the leased Mercedes is paying an invisible tax every single day, in inflated prices, in social obligation, in the psychological pressure to maintain an image he can't actually afford. Looking rich is expensive in ways that never show up on a receipt. There's a fourth reason, and it's about discipline compounding on itself. Behavioral economists have a name for this too, It's called the mimetic trap, borrowed from the idea that humans don't just want things, they want things because other people want them. Your spending habits are rarely fully yours. They're a mirror of your environment. If your friend group is leasing new cars every 2 years, you'll feel pressure to keep pace, even if nobody says a word about it. But the moment you opt out, the moment you're willing to be the person driving the old car, wearing the same jacket for 5 years, the person who looks, on the surface, like they're not doing that well, you break the mimetic loop. You stop competing in a race that was never about your actual life goals in the first place. And that's when your money starts working for you instead of for your image. I want to give you one more piece before we land this, because it ties everything together. Wealthy people who stay wealthy across generations almost all share this same instinct, an allergic reaction to being seen as flashy. Old money doesn't dress like new money. It never has. New money buys the watch. Old money buys the land the watch company sits on and never mentions it at dinner. That contrast isn't an accident. It's culture passed down, specifically because the families who survived multiple generations learned, often the hard way, that visible wealth attracts visible problems. Lawsuits, entitled relatives, opportunists, and the slow erosion of urgency that comes from feeling like you've already made it. If you're watching this and something in your chest just tightened a little, good. That means you recognized yourself somewhere in the last few minutes. Maybe it's the car you're embarrassed to park next to your coworkers. Maybe it's the vacation you didn't take because you were quietly funding something bigger. I want you to know that discomfort isn't a sign you're behind. It's a sign you're already doing the thing that actually works. Even if nobody's clapping for it, nobody claps for the guy still driving the Civic at 35. They clap for him at 55 when they find out what he actually built while they weren't looking. Drop a comment and tell me the moment you realize someone who had nothing was actually doing better than everyone around them. I read every single one. And honestly, those stories are the best part of making these videos. Wealth, real wealth, is quiet by nature. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need to convince the table at dinner that it made it. The moment you stop performing for people who won't remember what you wore next week, you free up an enormous amount of money and energy to put toward the one audience that actually matters. The version of you 20 years from now, looking back, grateful that you didn't spend your 30s trying to look rich instead of becoming it. So, the next time someone underestimates you because of the car you drive or the jacket you're wearing, let them. Let them keep spending to look like something. You'll be too busy quietly becoming it. Before you leave, if this video resonated with you, give a thumbs up, subscribe to never miss an insight, and share it with your loved ones who need this. I'll see you in the next one.